Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Gonna do kind of a quick video request. Over the past like 24 to 48 hours, I got a bunch of questions from different people on kind of old videos about how I go about cleaning my records. And I thought it was kind of interesting because not only was it a bunch of questions about that from different people, but it also seemed that everyone that asked was kind of new to the whole vinyl world in terms of collecting, getting into vinyl and stuff like that. So I thought it'd just be kind of cool to do a really quick video just to show, kind of how I go about cleaning my records. Mainly kind of gearing it towards beginners, kind of cleaning 101 kind of thing. So yeah, in the past I haven't really done much in terms of doing videos like that because I haven't necessarily had a designated area where I kind of do my cleaning. I just kind of did it, kitchen table or bar, whatever the case may be. So yeah, just can kind of go through and show you really quick, kind of how I go about cleaning my records. Now, granted, too, this is definitely geared more towards a kind of a vinyl cleaning 101. So most of what I'm talking about, a lot of the veteran collectors, if you will, or people in the vinyl will know all this stuff. Maybe there'll be one or two new things, maybe that'll pop up, but yeah. So that's kind of what I'm gearing it towards. So I like to refer to this as the $70 to $100 way to go about being able to clean all your records and being able to do it for years and years and years. That there are some really nice machines out there, like ultrasonic cleaners and stuff like that, which are really awesome. But even kind of starting on the low side in most cases, you're shelling out $500-$600 and kind of way up from there. So again, this is a nice kind of for beginners $70-$100 way you can have a nice setup that'll clean most of your records pretty darn well. So we'll start off here with one of the more common things that's used to clean records these days, which is called the spin clean. One of the most simple, I can't even call it a machine, one of the most simple things you'll ever have to use. It's just kind of a little plastic container, has a little reservoir there. It comes with these two little brushes. I won't pull the other one out, but on both sides, just kind of slide right in there. That's what the record rotates through and cleans. And then on each side, there's a little spindle like this that kind of allows the record to roll. And there's a setting here for the 12-inch record, a 10-inch record, and a 7-inch record. But so yes, all you basically do with these things is there's a little line right across there where you fill it up with water. You want to make sure it's distilled water, not tap water out of your faucet, because that has extra stuff added to it that you don't want for cleaning your records. But just some distilled water, you fill it up to the line, and then it comes with this, which is called Spin Clean, a little solution. And you take 3 capfuls and just pour it kind of right on top of your little brushes right there. Just 1, 2, 3, and then boom, you're ready to go. It's kind of that simple. So with the spin clean here, I'll just kind of demonstrate it really quick, as simple as it is. Again, you just kind of slide the record down in between the 2 brushes all the way down until it hits the rollers, and then you just kind of rotate it around like that with your fingers. Usually I'll take it around 2 or 3 times, just kind of depending, and then I kind of lift it up a little bit just to kind of let it sit there for a moment and let some of the excess solution just kind of drip off of it and go back into the container. So then once I have that done, a little shake, get a little more excess off there. And as you'll see here, I have some microfiber towels that are laid down. When it comes to wiping your records and all that good stuff, you always want to make sure you're using microfiber towels. You don't want to get your regular hand towels your regular hand towels that you use at home or anything like that, mainly because, again, it's kind of the point of microfiber. They're made to be really fine so they don't leave any scratches or scuffs. More so is really what you're dealing with, where your hand towels, why can't I say that word tonight, your hand towels are a little more coarse, that type of thing. They can actually leave some marks and stuff on your records. That's not going to screw them up where you can't play them, but you don't want to scuff the fine gloss and all that good stuff. So anyway, I also have this little fan that's sitting right here. Or actually, before I say that, I should say, the microfiber towels are extremely inexpensive. I mean, you can get 5 of them for like $4 delivered to your front doorstep from Amazon. So I just keep like a little Tupperware container full of them, clean ones, and I keep them in here just to kind of keep the dust and everything off of them. So just whenever they're ready, whenever I'm ready to go and need one, I just kind of pull one out of the container there and have plenty of clean ones on hand. Excuse me. Now I also keep this little fan on hand, which I turn on whenever I'm cleaning. Again, it just helps with the drying process, which I just kind of like. So you just take the microfiber cloth, and I start just wiping from kind of the outside. It's the way I like to do it, and just kind of work my way towards the center of the label. And then maybe sometimes I'll give one little wipe over the label just to make sure there's no moisture there. You know, obviously you don't want to wipe back and forth, but kind of in the circle going with the grooves. And the thing I like about this little fan is after you give a good wipe, you know how you can still have like a little moisture that can be on there. And usually if you let the record sit there for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it'll kind of automatically evaporate. You know how that goes. But I just like kind of just the extra fan blowing there to dry it off. It's just, I just like it. So anyway, so after that dries, I flip it over, do the same thing, just like that. Wipe on the label, little final touch on the air dry, and then boom, you have a very, very nice clean record there. Now, one other thing that I'll add in there too, before I kind of go to the next piece, is that me personally, I tend to view my cleaning process as starting before I even buy the record. So, and again, everyone is different, and there's no wrong way to go about collecting. Like, I hate when people say that you should only buy this, or you shouldn't buy that, or you should. It's like bull. Whatever makes you happy with your collection and makes you feel excited to go into your room, or dive on your shelves and play music, that's what's right. So we all have our way, but you know, your way is not wrong just because it's different from somebody else's. Me personally, I believe that the best cleaning that I do is paying attention to what I buy in the first place. So unless something is a very, very, very strong VG++ to maybe being just a hair from excellent and above, I pretty much won't buy it and won't bring it into my house, period. You know, I'm more of I'll hold off until I find something that's in the great shape. So most of the things that I bring in, I'm not having to deal with, you know, having to clean out a bunch of just like gunk and really kind of records that have been through a tough time. Let's put it that way. But let's say, for instance, you do, and that is the case. One other thing to kind of have on hand that works well in conjunction with the spin clean is one of these, which is one of those edging tools that's used for like painting. You know, you have the wall and the ceiling, you don't want to get the paint on the ceiling. It's one of those. If you get one that kind of has the really soft kind of microfiber type brush there, these can be really good to add one more layer of cleaning to a very, very dirty, stubborn, dirty type of record. And so basically how you utilize that is after, when the record is soaking wet, when you first take it out and set it here, you simply put this on the wet record and just pushing down, you know, gently, you just kind of work it around the record just like this. And all those little really soft bristles just kind of give one more little extra scrub while the record is still wet. And after you go around 2 or 3 times, then wipe it off the way I just showed you a moment ago. And it's kind of nice because, like, again, you get the soft brushes there. They don't leave any type of scuffs or anything like that. And it's just kind of a nice, easy way to do a quick extra scrub. So something good to have on hand if you're buying records that may be coming from flea markets or Goodwills or places that typically, records coming from there, again, typically are a little more dirty and need a little more cleaning. So after that, you know, I go into putting stuff in my sleeves and all that good stuff. Maybe I'll put a little clip in there just to kind of show you kind of how I have those stored. And I just grab what I need from there, and you know, you're off and rolling. Now continuing on the shelf, just kind of some other things to have handy. Okay, this is kind of just, you know, your basic brushes. This is pretty much what I used to use for the most part to clean most of my records. I've only had this set up for like a couple of months, but again, with most of the things coming into my collection being in fantastic shape, I would just put a little cleaning solution on the brush and give a couple wipes, and that was kind of that. So I still use these every now and then if I'm trying to, maybe if there's one little spot that I want to see if I can really clean up or something, I'll put some solution there and kind of use this to scrub that spot. But that's just kind of some brushes that I've accumulated over the years there. This is one piece I'd be curious if a lot of people are taking advantage of or not, which is the block eraser. Just a white, good old, grade school type of eraser. Now what might these be for? Well, you have albums, like here's one example that I had. You have ring wear that pops up on albums sometimes. There's usually two different things that can cause ring wear. It's either the album actually, the cover being worn, where the ink and everything that's on top of the cover actually is worn off and you're kind of digging into the cover. Not much you can do about that. It's just, it's worn and it's worn. But then sometimes you have ring wear that's really just dirt wear is what it boils down to. And when you think about it, back in school when you used to, write with your pencils and you're messing up your ABCs and you had to correct it, you would pull out an eraser, right? And erase and then write again with your pencil. Well, all a pencil really is lead making a dirt mark on a piece of paper. And then you use the eraser to take away the dirt mark. So sometimes with albums, you can do the exact same thing to clean up covers if the ring wear or whatever you're experiencing is just a dirt mark. Okay, so for example, like I said, you have this one here. I kind of found that when you can see that little mark right there. So I'm just going to kind of take the eraser, see if I can do it to where it's pretty clear here. Let's see. So just kind of going back and forth and kind of taking it step by step. Like I'm not grinding into it as hard as I possibly can, but just kind of doing it layer by layer, just like that. And if you see that gap right there in the ring wear now? I mean, it really kind of cleans it up. So again, let me do a little bit more here just to see. Just kind of working across that way. And yeah, as you can see there, it's really getting a lot cleaner. So, and what I would typically do if this is an album that I actually really cared about, so to speak, what I would do is just kind of continually going back and forth, just kind of going layer by layer, because I don't want to do it to the point where I get rid of all the dirt wear, but then maybe I start wearing it to the cover. So I just kind of take it, soft one step at a time. But even with that, you can see the difference just in those, few seconds of kind of going back and forth there. So that's one thing that can really work very well for cleaning up ring wear, especially on white covers. Now the thing I'll say about the eraser and a couple other things I'll show you as well, yeah, those are things that work great, but kind of just like I'm demonstrating right here, I always think a great thing is just to go out and get a couple of throwaway records, go get a couple of quarter records from, I'm sure most of us have some kind of little junk pile or something somewhere, but if you don't, yeah, go to a Goodwill, go to a local record store, just buy a 50-cent beat up whatever, and just kind of use that to practice before you start actually putting your records that you actually like under maybe some of these things, and I'm kind of mentioning here, including the eraser, just kind of getting a feel for how to do it layer by layer so you never go too deep. Because I have seen it too, where I've had dirt marks on covers maybe similar to this, that maybe, let's say if there's a dirt mark right here, I would go nice and soft layer by layer to get rid of the dirt. But again, if you go too hard or too long, you may start diving into the actual color there on the cover, and then you create a big white streak mark there that can't come off because you've erased the color of the album cover there. So again, practice with that and practice on records you don't care about. So that's what the eraser is there. The super glue, little pen, like to keep one of those on hand. Nice little $2 piece to have, because every now and then, and I don't have maybe a perfect example here, but you may have an older record that's in records in fantastic condition, covers in fantastic condition, But over the last 40 or 45 years, the glue starts to come undone where, you know, the cover kind of comes apart. So it's not damaged or anything, it's just the glue got weak. So you can always have a little super glue pen, a couple little squirts, glue the cover back together, and then it's like good as new. So nice little $2 piece to have there. If you fix one record with that, it's worth the $2. Q-tips up there, and I'll kind of explain where I use those here in a minute. This is just a bottle of cleaning solution. It's just, you know, the stuff that goes in there already mixed in the right proportions. That way, if I'm cleaning like, you know, 30 records, 40 records or whatever, and I see the level maybe go down a little bit, I can just kind of fill it back up really quick with a little drop. This right here, exact same solution. Again, mixed in the right amounts there. I keep this on hand in case like I ever pull out a record I'm getting ready to spin, and maybe I know I've cleaned it before, but I just want to give it one little clean before I put it on the turntable, instead of maybe just using the brush, and I don't want to go through the whole spin clean process. I'll just give a couple little squirts like that, you know, grab the microfiber towel, same process, and then boom, I'm off to the turntable. So that's just kind of, just keep that on hand for whatever. Or maybe if I want to scrub a little deeper, if I needed the other brush for some reason, that's just some extra fluid I can squirt on there to make sure it's nice and wet, and kind of go from there. CD, DVD cleaner, basically the exact same thing that I was just saying about the records there. You know, you go to a store and you buy a used CD, it's in great, like, new condition, but it's a used CD that's been floating around the store, so there could be some fingerprints on it, some dust, blah, blah, blah. Well, one squirt of this, and then same thing. This is a microfiber mitt is what it is. Kind of makes it a little easier for CDs. And then it just, you know, rub it off, and boom, exact same thing. So this is a nice little CD cleaner to use. Record cleaning solution, just the same stuff that goes on the brush I mentioned before. Alcohol, another nice little thing to have on hand. It's just some basic rubbing alcohol. Where does that come into play? Well, if I buy a used CD, and let's say even sometimes a new CD, if for some reason there's still like a sticker, you know, residue on the cover or something like that, like a used CD, but the jewel case is perfect, it just has a sticker residue, well, just one squirt of that rubbing alcohol, little Q-tip takes it right off. I mean, I keep new jewel cases, so I'll swap out, because I want all my jewel cases on my CDs to look like perfect. But if you don't have to waste one, and you can keep the original one, why not? If you just have to rub off a little price sticker residue. Alcohol does that really well. Something else the alcohol does, and this is another thing too, where you definitely want to kind of play around with it and test it on other albums so you kind of get a feel for it, is if you've ever been looking for albums, and let's say there's like a collection that comes from a radio station, and it'll have WKRP in Cincinnati, you know, written across the records, like, you know, so many radio stations did that back in the day. You can actually use alcohol and Q-tips to get rid of some of those marks that are something you sometimes find on albums like that, and kind of the same thing, you know, it's just getting the end of that Q-tip wet and just kind of working across there until you get right to that nice level between getting rid of the ink but not diving into the cover, and once again, something you just should practice on old bummy records you don't care about. I mean, heck, go get a marker and make some marks on one and just kind of, you know, see what it takes to get that off. See what's going too far. Seeing the difference between, you know, types of covers that it's on. You know, sometimes those 80 glossier type of covers, those things are a lot different than dealing with some of the harder cardboard type of covers when you're dealing with the eraser and the alcohol and all that. So again, don't just run out and start throwing that stuff on records you care about. Practice on junk. But that's what the alcohol and kind of the Q-tips are for. But I actually kind of discovered that myself a few years ago when you guys know Billy Hurst here in the VC had found some really nice what's his name, Garth Brooks albums, some really old rare ones that were, you know, in mint condition, $150, $175 albums, and they had radio station stuff written across the front of them. And you know, sure as heck, he went just kind of step by step with the alcohol and the Q-tips, and he was able to clean all of that off, and the albums looked brand spanking new. So you know, talking about saving a $150, $200 type of album, I was totally convinced. So that's what the alcohol and Q-tips are for. And kind of the same thing here with a paste remover. This is kind of what's used for taking like wallpaper off, like, you know, getting rid of the glue and that type of thing. Same thing, if you practice and get a good understanding about how to use it, it can be good for taking you know, some of that pasty stuff that you can't seem to get off of your record covers sometimes. So that's what that is. Down below, little DVD cleans. These are just kind of like wet wipes that you can use to wipe off DVDs, or CDs I should say. And this is not necessarily vinyl, or these next two I say are not necessarily vinyl related, but more music related. A little bottle of Deoxit. If you have a vintage piece of stereo equipment, you know, with like your big knobs and that type of thing, maybe at some point in time you've turned the volume knob or turn, you know, the balance or bass knob, and you hear like a crackling sound in your speakers when you turn it, which usually means there's some type of dirt, gunk, or buildup. That connection just isn't solid, right? So what you can do is you can put this little straw in there and kind of spray some of this behind the knob, and then kind of, you know, work it, and sometimes that'll help cure the problem. To just kind of clean that up a little bit, or kind of, you know, get it lubricated again. I got a reel-to-reel player from a friend a couple years ago, and the little just kind of rubber rollers that were on the tape kind of slides through, they were really, really stiff. And I just sprayed a little bit of this on there, and it's been working like brand new ever since. So that's kind of what Deoxit is. And last but not least, with the stuff on the shelf, really good stuff here. Too Fine Scratch Remover. This is very great for your lids to your turntables. This basically is just like a polish for your lids, and it operates. It really kind of works the exact same way as like car wax. When I don't know if you can see it there, it's like a brown, like a tannish brown mud looking, but you spray it on your lid, and then you kind of in semicircles, the same way you kind of lay out the wax on your car, you lay it out all over your entire lid, and then just like the wax on your car, you wait for it to dry. And when it dries, it gets kind of like dusty, is kind of what it looks like, and then you get a damp microfiber towel and you just buff it off. And sure as heck, I mean, like your lid will be sitting there looking like it's covered in mud for a moment, but then when you buff it off, it's amazing how, you know, you'll get half its life back just like that, where it's just so much more clear, and a lot of this little minor scuffs and stuff like that just kind of disappear. Great thing to have if you need to kind of buff your lid out a little bit. So that's Too Fine Scratch Remover. Good stuff to have there. So other than that, I mean, that's about it for my cleaning process. I mean, I like to do a lot of little quirky things too, just kind of with my station here. So like right over here, and I'll show you, I guess here, that I have like a little clothesline that I have set up right here. And that's just kind of where I hang my towels to kind of dry after I go through a cleaning session and that type of thing. And then when they're, you know, kind of at the point of being used, I'll take them and put them in this little bin over here, which is kind of like the little laundry basket, and that's where they go, you know, waiting to be washed. So yeah, and again, you know, you're cleaning a record, you're putting a clean record down, you're wiping off a clean record, so it's not like you have to wash these towels every single time you do a cleaning. Just over the course of time, you can tell when things are getting dingy, getting dirty, and that type of thing, and need to be cleaned, and just always good to have a bunch of those towels on hand. So anyway, that's kind of my cleaning station area, kind of how I go about doing it. So for everyone that asked, I hope that kind of answers your questions. I hope that kind of helps. Again, welcome to the crazy world of vinyl collecting, vinyl buying and listening and so forth. And as always, let me know what you think. All right, take care, guys.